Hello, everyone. I have a very special guest today. We have Khaira Ledeyo, who is zooming in from Vancouver, British Columbia. Hi, Khaira. How are you doing today?
Hi, Liz. I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad that you're here because, you know, we met in person in Mexico, where I am currently. And we met at the Project World School Family Summit in Playa del Carmen in March, right? Was it March? Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And that's how I learned about Galileo when you were doing a presentation there.
Yeah, and actually I was doing a presentation about something else, and you and Teva, your son, were there, and but then I was mentioning to some of the other families there how my girls learn with Galileo, and so I think I created like an impromptu roundtable, and a bunch of people joined, and several families joined us at that time, and yours was one of them. So anyway, super good to see you on Zoom. I wish we could be in Mexico together or in Canada together in real life. But anyway, so thank you for joining me. I wanted to invite you here because Teva had joined us, I guess, in April, right? Shortly after we met. Okay, great.
Yep.
And anyway, so I just wanted you to share a little bit more about, you know, your lifestyle, because you have a really interesting traveling, world schooling lifestyle, and you and your husband are entrepreneurs, and Teva is becoming one. So I wanted to just hear more about your story. But can you tell me about how Teva was learning before you found Galileo? Because you've been unschooling for a while, right?
Mm-hmm, that's right. Well, we've always I guess we are eclectic unschoolers right now, because when we started as radical unschoolers when he was still in my belly. And we went that way for a while, and we just, like a lot of people, you change your methods according to your children. So now we are, and also with his age, he is now almost 13, so he's needing different things, he's wanting different things, and so we have definitely, year by year, month to month, just adjusted. And I think that's something that we're happy to do. We only have an only child. He's our only child, so it's a little, easier for us to do that.
Yeah. And he never went to public school or private school or anything like that?
No, he hasn't yet. We did have him enrolled in BC. We have some options, some amazing options in Canada, in Western Canada, where you can take part in like part-time programs that are government funded and private programs as well. So he's jumped in and out of things like that, but never gone to like a brick and mortar full-time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so tell us a little bit more about your lifestyle. You and your husband own a couple businesses, right?
Yeah, we actually, we've owned and run a building maintenance company since I knew I was pregnant with him. We both came from the film industry. So my husband used to be in set decorating. I'm still an actor, but when I got pregnant, we thought he had to kind of do something more stable or something that, doesn't pull him away from us for 18, 20 hours a day. So we started a business back then, and we had, big dreams, right? A bit naive, thinking that when you own your own business, you have the ability to determine everything, your holidays, things like that. But in fact, it's kind of like creating your own employment, right? In reality, especially a brick and mortar. So we have employees and we have all of those things, clients and things to do face to face. So we realized, that we can't really move around with that business. So although that's kind of where we come from in terms of business, I started to look more into online options after I learned what world schooling was, right? So that wasn't something in my vocabulary for years and years. It was something maybe in the past 5 years that I learned existed. And that's where I started exploring, how do I, take my family to that place where we can be location independent when we want. And that's kind of how we ended up, traveling a few years ago for the first time for extended periods, and then ended up in Mexico running my online business, testing that out on the road. And then that's how we met you and learned about an online program that, we could carry with us wherever we went.
Excellent. So the last several years, you guys have been kind of in and out of Vancouver, going to different places. How do you typically like to travel? Is that what you like to do? Because I think you told me before you like to leave for a month or two and come back.
Yeah, what we did was we would, my son and I would go together somewhere, and we'd go for like 3 or 4 months at a time, and my husband would join us a month and then come back and then join us again. So it wasn't ideal. He had to come back to take care of the other business. So while we traveled though, I really like to make arrangements with local families. So we created our own sort of homestays. So I would contact Facebook groups in certain areas of where we're going and ask for recommendations for, you know, families that had kids around his age that wouldn't mind us moving in with them for a month, maybe arranging meals with them and everything. And so we set that up, you know, as we go. And that is a great way for us because, like I said, he's an only child, and we needed that not only, you know, the ability to meet with people who live locally, but for him to build friendships. And that is really great, right? Like from all those trips, we have made some solid friendships that he maintains to this day from around the world. And what I love is that now he can actually perhaps have a space where all of these people he's met can meet, you know, in a learning environment, right, as well. And that's actually already happening, where some of the kids who are learning with him at Galileo are kids that we've traveled with.
Oh, so cool. That's awesome. Okay, so you guys joined in April, and the first month that Teva was with us was actually a little bit bumpy. So do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, it was really not successful. That first month was it was a learning curve for him because, you know, he'd never had a set schedule day to day. And even though in Galileo you can pick and choose what your schedule will be, he was really into that idea, right? He jumped right in and he said, I'm going to do this and this and this and this. And he created his own schedule that was totally unlike anything he'd ever done before. It was kind of like, you know, a person going, this is the other side of the tracks. And I really crave knowing what that's like. So he jumped to the other side and he created this schedule that he thought, you know, would be perfect for him. But it was he went a little bit overboard and
bit off too much, more than he could chew.
Yeah, because there was so much that was being offered in Galileo. You know, there were the check-ins in the morning that he really wanted to be a part of, so that he could meet people consistently every day. And then, you know, the different clubs during the day, right? But like I said, he's a teenager now almost, and his sleep schedule is different. So he needs a lot more sleep. And so we found that he probably doesn't make those check-ins, you know, very often, but it's totally okay. He knows that they're there for him. He knows that, you know, this group of people are his consistent base, and he can pop in and out. I love that flexibility. I think he really does too. So after that first month, he actually wanted to leave Galileo, right? And I remember I messaged you and I said, I don't know if this is right for us, Liz. We're going through a lot of transition, right? Adjustments that were a little bit hard. And you encouraged us, and so did another administrator, encouraged us to just pull back a little bit, you know, and let him explore some other new things that were coming in the pipeline, which he did do. And now he's like, he loves it, right? He's there.
Well, I wanted to say, you guys are on the west coast of the US, and the check-ins happen, I think right now it's between 8:30 a.m. your time to 10:30. So a bit early on your side, versus if you were living on the East Coast, it would be later in the day. So I think that was, since he wasn't an early bird, that was kind of a hard transition for him.
Yeah. However, you know, if we end up going to Europe, right, then it'll be perfect, because then his check-ins will be in the evenings. And he'll get to stay with the same group, but he'll start his learning day in the evening. So I love that we can move from time zone to time zone. And if this time zone group doesn't fit, we can then move to the Europe-Asia time zone group, right? So it's something that's consistent. Yeah.
You're thinking about going to Europe and having him continue to check in with the Americas or with the Africa, Asia, Australia kids?
Yeah, I was thinking how cool if he could meet the other kids, but then I realized that, and expand his circle, right? But how cool that he could still stay with the Americas group because it's actually evening classes, which is even better for him. Yeah.
Actually, we have a student who lives in the UK. She was initially in Mexico when she started with us, and she has checked in from Europe, Brazil, Thailand, and all the same America's class. So
great.
yeah, so she just does it wherever she is in the world. So yeah, you could totally do that. Awesome. Okay, so that's awesome. So the first month was a bit bumpy, and yeah, when you contacted me and told me that it wasn't really working out, I was like, what do you mean? Like, nobody quits Galileo, or very few. I mean, most kids like it. But I think because it was a more difficult transition from him versus maybe some of the kids who have been doing self-directed learning for a while, or maybe eclectic homeschooling, or just a little bit more structure, they kind of jump in and they're kind of like, oh, this is freedom to us, like we actually don't have anyone telling us what to learn. But you guys, it was the opposite for you with Teva. So anyway, so after a month or two, he finally started getting into the swing of things, right? So tell me a little bit about how he's doing now. Like, is he still taking way too many clubs and nano degrees, or has he kind of backed up a little bit?
Well, like anything, for adults too, when we start something, it takes us a little bit of time to kind of warm up to the people we're working with, right? And such. And I think as the second month came into play, he was able to build those relationships more. And then he enjoyed being in those clubs even more. So now he is doing about 2 clubs a day. Wednesdays is the only day that he doesn't have anything, but he has a really nice wide range of things that he does.
Okay, well, you know what? Maybe I should share the screen right now and show what the clubs are. We can talk about, this is what we have scheduled for August. So what is he participating in now?
Okay, so on Mondays he does the book club in the Americas time zone. So that starts at, for us, 11, right? Is perfect. And then he jumps into actually a club that was started by one of the students, which was the social club. And he's really enjoying that. They meet and what's that?
The art club or the social club?
No, the social club. So right after the book club. And the teen debate club that happens on Mondays too is something that he was really interested in. So he now has to make a decision, right, about which one he's going to do. But his Mondays are great. The book club is wonderful. It's really allowed him to dig deep into books, which he never really did before. He didn't really, read novels, and now he's been introduced to novels, not just general, like, other kinds of genres.
Yeah. And I like how they have themes too. Like this month is on mindfulness. And last month it was, we kind of mixed it between like some type of personal characteristic and part of the world. Last month was Africa, because global citizenship is important for us at Galileo. So, okay, so he's liked the book club. What else has he liked?
And then on Tuesday, he's doing Spanish and coding. And on Thursdays, there's the nano degrees. So the next one is the robotics one. As you can see, they just came out of some other really fascinating ones, like the business one and presentations and things like that.
So how did the business one, the start your own business, how did he do with that? Because he was gonna launch, maybe, what was he gonna do, like a fashion thing or like some coding thing?
No, he wanted to do an app for connecting people. Cool. Connecting people around the world with similar interests, young people mostly, right? So he's still going to be approaching his cousin, actually, who's studying computer, whatever she's doing. And she's got some friends who are app creators at Berkeley, right? And so they're going to kind of help him out with that. Super. And then on Fridays, he does math and science club.
Awesome.
So it all happens before lunch for us
Mm-hmm.
here on the West Coast, and it's a great schedule. But like I said, wherever we happen to be, I think that we'll be able to adjust because for some reason, I think Galileo has made those clubs happen in a section of time in the day. So if it's the morning for Pacific, then it's afternoon for East Coast, and that's fine, right? As long as they happen together.
Yeah.
It's really easy to put that into our day.
Yeah. Yeah. We divide the world in two. And so we have the Americas together. And as I mentioned, roughly between 8 a.m. and 11 Pacific time, and then 8 a.m. and 11 London time for the Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia kids, they're grouped together. That happens. So the check-ins happen in the morning, and then the clubs and nanodegrees happen the rest of the day. So our students in Asia, they're taking a lot of these clubs and nanodegrees in the late afternoon and into the evening. And, like what you guys said, it actually works for some of these families, because they can spend the day out and about, or, they're homeschoolers anyway, and then spend the evening time is more their learning time. So,
yeah.
Cool. Okay. So, so that's been working really well. And then you had mentioned to me earlier that he's going to add something new to his learning schedule, like actually going to a place physically, right?
Oh yeah, so because we are, just trying to help him with in-person opportunities as well. In BC, there is a program where he can actually show up to a space and meet other local kids who are self-directed learners, but it's a BC program, and he'll go 2 days a week once it opens, and they're actually allowing him to show up in the morning and just do his Galileo classes on the side and then join the rest of the group as soon as he finishes them. So it allows him to have the best of both. Because he doesn't want to give up the Galileo stuff, but he really wants the in-person experience. So I think it's really cool that we can actually marry this program with other things that that we're allowed to do in our region of the world. And that's kind of where we're looking for the next few months, and seeing, if that helps him. So I think it's really, I love that we can use it the way we need it to be used, right? We are happy that there is no grading and there's no, requirement of attendance, even though, students are asked to be respectful of the class and the instructor and let people know if they can't attend. But that flexibility fits perfectly with us, and for him to feel that freedom within the structure is really important, I think, as he goes into his teenage years. And it's very much like attending university, right? Attending college. You get to choose your courses, you get to decide when they are, and if you're going to show up. It's totally up to you. It gives you some responsibility, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, that's what I love about Galileo as well, the flexibility. And we have, like I said, we have lots of world schoolers like myself and your family, or stationary people who do Galileo full-time, or they mix it with a charter program, or they're already doing other classes in real life. I mean, it kind of depends on where in the world you live, and if the pandemic is bad or not. I mean, you're in Canada, and you guys are finally able to meet in person again, which makes me really jealous. But anyway, but yeah, we can definitely, parents and kids can just mix and match to fit their lifestyle. We actually have people who have joined us because they live in rural areas, and this just because they don't have a lot of kids to be with. So this not only has access to other kids, but a global group of peers. So that's awesome.
And I love that it's 12 months a year, Liz. It allows you to pick up and go, but still take your social circle with you, right? And I love that it's 12 months a year, because one thing I just couldn't wrap my head around about our school systems is that, learning is expected 10 months of the year, and then you're on holiday from learning, which makes sense to me. Yeah. And so for him to be in a program where learning is respected 12 months of the year, it's a mindset, it's a philosophy about living and learning that makes sense to us as a family.
Yeah, and we don't expect everyone to show up every day for 12 months out of the year. I mean, parents and families can take breaks whenever they want. You can go on holiday, you can take Christmas off, you can take Chinese New Year's off, whatever your holiday is that you celebrate, we're super flexible about that. Okay, so let's mention some of the things that Teva is liking now about Galileo. So he likes especially the clubs, right? The nano degrees and the social interaction.
Yeah, he really is enjoying the social interaction, which I think he mostly wanted in a program, a place where he could see the same kids. Of course, it's not the same, but it's better, right? It's better than, it's the consistency is what he wanted. And he's discovered, like I was mentioning in the book club, he's discovered things about reading that he, had never thought that he would enjoy. And that is really important to me, that he's being exposed to things that I wasn't able to expose him to, right? We are unschoolers technically, but I do want him to have, much more, I want him to have bigger doorways than, I can open. And the type of instructors that he gets to meet, the fact that they come from different parts of the world, that is a really big, important factor, I think, to why I love the program. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're strewing hard on many different subjects of things that are traditional, like the math and science and reading, and all the tech stuff like the robotics, the 3D modeling clubs. And then, we're also launching more kind of liberal arts types of things. So I think the kids are learning a lot, and, entrepreneurship. And I think that's so perfect for your family too. You mentioned that Tave is getting involved with your business as well.
Yeah, so when you were asking me earlier, what does he plan, what does he envision doing a few years from now, right? He really does want to go to university, and of course he can do that if he wants, but because we do have businesses in our family already, they're there for him, right? They're there for him to learn right now and such. So he's going to start shadowing his dad on site and meeting with clients and such, and I think he'll take over payroll duties for me.
Oh, awesome.
if I can do that, then I've taken a huge task away from me too.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So what would you or Teva suggest for improvements for Galileo? How can we make it better for him?
Well, what I love is that there are more offerings each month. And I think that if that can continue, then it's the best path, because different children have different interests. And for him, he's found things that he likes, but I'd love for him to be exposed to even more options and ideas. So I would like that. I would also, really like to, I know that a new communications platform is being developed, right, in the next few months. And as a parent, I would really like to engage more with the instructors, right? So I want to kind of have a portal for that, and I think that's going to be introduced really soon. And other than that, I'm really happy with how things are moving. It's a relatively new program, right, Liz? So there's a curve of development that's happening, and I think families who do join the program at this stage, to really appreciate that growth is going to happen, but the benefit of that is you get to have a say in where it's going, right? I really feel that we are listened to as families. Really appreciate that. And of course, we benefit from, having the opportunity to give input at this stage.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I think that'll never change. I mean, we're building this school for families like yours, but we always want to have an ear open, because, we have a certain type of family that does well with us. Obviously, you must be into self-directed learning. But, other than that, we want to hear from their families to find out, what you guys are looking for, what you're missing, what you can't find outside, what we can do. I mean, there's only so much we can do because we're online. We can't physically do the things like the other program that you're going to be participating in, which I think is brilliant. But yeah, no, we want to continue to grow and, be the best school in the world, so that's our goal.
I
And,
love it.
we're a little different. So, what would you say to people who are listening to us talk about this very innovative school? What would you say, to those who are a little bit nervous about enrolling, like leaving the safe, traditional education system with the kind of the top-down curriculum, the authoritarian, the grades, the exams, all of that? What would you say to those kind of families about looking into an innovative program like Galileo? What would you tell them to calm their nerves?
I think that first, if anybody is looking into a program like this, they need to be really prepared to let go of those that paradigm that that they've been a part of perhaps for a while, because this is something that's going to be totally different. Here, it's a structured environment, but it's also very free, and the student and the family needs to have an understanding of what they love to do, or at least be open to exploring, right? And not having the same sort of feedback that traditional school systems have. So if you're open to exploring, if you're open to allowing your child to open new doors and maybe not know what's behind them or how they'll respond, then jump into this, keep an open mind, understand that learning is going to be happening, and that the opportunities actually here are immense compared to what happens in a brick and mortar traditional school, right? The topics that are broached, the type of instructors that will be teaching the classes, right? The exposure to a world mentality, and friendships that are built, right? The opportunity for friendships to be built with kids from different cultures. That's what we really will benefit from in the future as the world becomes, so much more connected,
Yes.
right? And so if our kids learn these skills now, then of course it requires a bit of a jump if you're coming from a different paradigm. But when is it going to happen, right? There's only a certain number of years where they're in school, so
right.
It's time to make the shift, right? If these values are important to you.
Yeah, and I think not only are our kids making friendships, but this is great networking for the future too. I mean, think of all the projects they'll launch together, or companies they'll launch together. I mean, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's really true, Liz. When people talk about joining Ivy League colleges and such for that networking, right? Why wait until then to build networks globally? Exactly. And for families who join this program, I think many are really looking at entrepreneurial skills, right? And world citizenship and such. And so it's a niche of families that have this value and this mindset.
Yeah.
And yeah, our kids can start networking now and
exactly. We talked about this before, that right now we're a new school. We're a great fit for families who are innovative, like you are. Innovators, early trendsetters, I guess. So because we're not trying to convince people who are against this idea. If you're happy to be in the traditional system, that's great. We really want to attract people who are forward thinking and innovative and visionaries, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to envision the future for our kids. But it's hard because, like I said, we don't have grades. And one of the questions I get a lot from prospective families is, how do you know the children are learning? How do you know they're progressing? So can you help me answer that, Khaira? I mean, how do you know Teva's learning? How do you know that he's like more knowledgeable about these things and more capable of things than he was back in April when he started?
I think for my particular child, I can see that growth when I see his ability to communicate better. Because it's about taking in the information, taking in the knowledge, but also being able to integrate it into who he is and then express it. So for me, I look for that as a key to whether he is learning.
Yep.
But for other kids, you know, who are naturally really excellent communicators, you know, there are just built right into the program, into the clubs, there are projects, right? Like there are goals built into each month of nano degree. For example, the business one, they leave with a business idea and steps forward, right? For the nano degree that has to do with presentations, they actually progress and start with a presentation, they learn the skills, and then leave with another presentation. So you can see that arc. But it's not going to be in terms of somebody giving him a grade, which, you know, is kind of antiquated, right? It's in terms of how well the child interacts socially and also, you know, just enjoys being there. I mean, I think that's really the most important thing. If he is excited to wake up and go jump in his class, then that means that he's getting something from it.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you so much, Khaira. You have, I don't know, I just love talking to you because you have a really interesting life and your kid is amazing. And I'm so happy that this worked out for him because, again, you guys almost quit. You almost left us. And I'm so glad that you know, stuck it in there for a little bit longer. And now I think you are glad that you are. And I'm super glad that you guys stayed. So
thank you, Liz.
Sharing your story with us, the bumpy parts and the good parts. So I appreciate that.
For sure. Thanks for your time today, Liz. And it was a pleasure speaking with you today.
Likewise.